first of all, just to address the uh, the mysterious billionaire you're mentioning, that's Elon Musk, and it's not just that he became a billionaire. I like to point out that people he didn't steal the money. People are volunteering. I own a Tesla, and people are volunteering their money, to be on X and get a blue check mark, or they're there for the action or whatever it is, or they want I mean, people want satellites up in the. He's doing things that people want. Unlike some people, Joe Biden, who make $100 million, kind of like on the side, whatever, without producing a product per se. He's produced products that people are buying. So people kind of hate on Bill Gates, but I give him credit for making a Windows operating system that is pretty much the lingua franca around the world, for better or for worse, and it has helped people move up in their quality of life. And ditto Jeff Bezos. I don't like his choice in second wives, whatever, but that's not my problem. But he's producing something where I can just kind of go to my phone, I can get antacid delivered tomorrow, and then a table the next day, whatever. And that's wonderful. So it's a funny thing. My point here about the billionaire Elon Musk is that he may not be able to do visual cues and deal with people on a one-to-one basis, the way we're used to having a beer with people and chatting things out, whatever. But he does understand what people want on some level, and or they've decided they want what he wants. He is aspirational, and he's able to create. Even though he says, Mark Zuckerberg is maybe a little autistic or something, or Asperger's, or he's an odd guy on a one-to-one basis. He seems, not quite human, whatever. I think they have that similar, but they understood enough about what other people want. Maybe it's not on a one-to-one basis, so you're going on a date and you're saying all the right things at the right times. However, they're able to produce something that's templated, again, like the seven blind men and the elephant. Maybe one person on a one-to-one date can get the sense of we're both feeling the same piece of the elephant. We understand each other. Kumbaya. It's wonderful. We're in love. But somebody else like Elon or Zuckerberg might say, you know what, this elephant is a 2.5-ton pachyderm, genus, whatever. He's most close related to the manatee. They share this, whatever. They might have a kind of a computery, impersonal aspect, but that might be interesting to us down the road as we learn more. And so their understanding of people may not be on a one-to-one personal basis, but their understanding of people may be in some senses deeper. Now, that's not going to encompass everybody who's got the diagnosis of autism, and not necessarily the classic autism cases from the 70s and whatnot, which were pretty much, as we emptied out the institutions, of what had been considered at the time mentally retarded. And that's sort of a term not in use anymore. And that was actually the euphemism for, I think, feeble-minded, which was a euphemism for moron, and whatnot. And we had other terms. In 1915, I got an image I'll maybe pop up, but in 1915, they had gradients of, I think, idiot, imbecile, and moron. And so if you were a moron, that meant you were better than an imbecile, and ditto better than an idiot, or vice versa. I can't remember the order. My brother used to call me all of those, as well as feeble-minded and mentally retarded and whatnot. So, we've kind of, now we have intellectual disability or mentally challenged or special ed and whatnot. But my only point about this is kind of, I veered from your question, is that there are capabilities that somebody, who is quasi-autistic can have that are somewhat outside the Ken, not the Ken and Barbie, but the Ken and aspect of what we understand as, genuine normal interaction. So part of it, I'm not Thomas Saz. I think there are mental illnesses, and I think schizophrenia is a real phenomenon. And I'll get to that kind of the relationship between schizophrenia and potentially autism. If you like this video, check out the full interview. Also, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and click the bell icon so you get notified every time a new video is uploaded. Thanks for watching.